Hare Krishna, dear brothers and sisters. Today I will be presenting the dimensions of pride, the dimensions of pride, and it would be one meditation about the different aspects and how pride manifests in our daily life, which positions have this quality, and how to be more able to distinguish and to know when we are becoming obsessed with this false pride. I will be I will basing my sharing on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, and I will share some more concrete things from his ideas, and also I will share one pastime of Lord Nityananda because I should have done this class 1 month ago when was close to Nityananda Triyodashi, but some technical issue was there, so I postponed it for this month. But still, I would like to share this inspiring story of Lord Nityananda meeting the thieves and how he made them change their hearts and extinguished these material desires in them. And in this story, I see the manifestations of pride and how every one of us needs to go through this transformation of heart and many times struggles with the same issues and tries many times to conquer the material energy, but at last we will be conquered ourselves. But first, I will start with the basic definitions of pride from the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, something that I came while I was researching what I would like to share with you. And maybe one of the top definitions and explanations of this pride, false pride, as the acharyas say about it, this false pride, I came across in the analysis of Bhaktivinoda Thakur of the third verse of Shikshashtakam, and in one of the um, in one of the sentences and the description of the definitions and examination of the verse, Bhaktivinoda says about the word amanina indicates that the third characteristic of being devoid of false pride. What is this third characteristic of being devoid of false pride? This pride stems from the power of yoga, the power of sense enjoyment, wealth, beauty, high birth, strength, fame, eligibility, in relation to both the gross and the subtle body of the bound jiva. This is all false because it opposes the intrinsic nature of the jiva. Being devoid of pride means being devoid of such false pride. Even if there is cause for such pride, one should be free of false pride and decorated with the quality of tolerance. One should always engage in Harinama Kirtana. A devotee should focus his consciousness upon Krishna and perform Krishna Nama Kirtana, while remaining at home without the false ego of being a Brahmana, or while residing in the forest without the false ego of possessing the symbols of a renunciate. And in these short verses, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think, gives the essence of this false pride, which is so challenging and making blockages towards our spiritual growth and development. This pride stems from the power of yoga, the power of sense enjoyment, wealth, beauty, high birth, strength, fame, all the qualities which are meant to be offered to the Lord and are a manifestation of his energies. And when we are labeling ourselves with these energies and think that we are the proprietor of these energies, that we are the one holding them, mm, we are the strong ones, the all belongs to us. This is when we talk, we get our real identity and essence clouded with this false identity. And from there comes this false pride that something belongs to me. But this is the mm, game over for us because when we feel that something that we are mm, that our identity comes from these possessions, and we think that we're the one who possesses these qualities, and we are separate from the Lord, from Krishna, and the other devotees, associates of the Lord. Then we're in a false pride position. And I wanted to see about the dimensions of pride. What is there? What different manifestation is there of this false pride? Because this which I shared now is like the essence. When we put labels of ourselves and we feel that something belongs to us and we are separate, and this energy um, in some way mm, our belonging. This is like the process level, the basic essence. But what other manifestations are there? And I saw in the description and analysis of Vinoda Thakur, in the description, which hero or which personality from Krishna Lila, what he represents, like the different demons and like this. What is the Bhaktivinoda analysis? Who manifests what kind of quality? And I saw that there are different dimensions of pride manifest in the different characters. So I will go through them and make this like a frame. Also, then we'll follow one meditation how we can be mindful which false pride manifests in us. And first, there is Trinavarta, the demon, the whirlwind demon. And Bhaktivinoda says that he represents false pride, which comes from material scholarship, which leads to bogus philosophies. So here we have this dimension of false pride, which comes from material knowledge, material scholarship, and then the mind goes astray to develop, to make up some kind of philosophies which are the entire no good and only further make us covered and are like a blockage to see with real eyes what is there, to be able to connect with the real philosophy, not such mind speculations. So this is one dimension of pride coming from material scholarship. Then all the different kind of make up philosophies that we humans make up. Next are mm, the twin Arjuna trees, which is the deliverance of Navakuvara and Manigriva. They represent the false pride, arrogant pride, which comes from puffed up prestige, which is rooted in a madness for wealth. So here is the second dimension of pride. When we are in this wanting to become rich, to when we are mad about wealth, when we want more and more, when we have this puffed up prestige, when we think that um, when we have something material, uh, we feel more superior. The third dimension of pride is represented in the brahmanas performing the sacrifice, and Bhaktivinoda says that here it's manifest pride because of one status, position in Varna ashrama. So here also, if the twin Arjuna trees, these brothers Navakuvara and Manigriva, have this pride, puffed up pride from material wealth. Here we have the pride coming out from this position in Varna ashrama, position in society. Maybe here in our contemporary context, maybe if someone is a psychologist, a doctor, or a lawyer, or someone who, well, we know that this false pride uh, can come from different kind of positions, but we have this tendency to feel big about everything. So regardless where on the mm, uh, where is a person, he can have this status issue and feel that he is something more. You can be a team lead or a mm, senior IT specialist, and already you can feel superior towards the junior ones. So yeah, here is this third dimension, the third dimension, coming from being proud, having this pride about the position we have in society or in our micro society. The fourth dimension of pride is the pride of Indra, demigod worship, and the tendency to think I am supreme, better than everyone. So here also you can see that there can come also pride from maybe being in relationship with someone superior or worshiping the demigods, and this tendency to think I am the supreme. Mm, Maybe here it's a bit more subtle because we can, if the pride of the Brahmanas comes up from the position in Varna ashrama. Here, I think that we could say that this position, I am the supreme, can come also from more subtle characteristics or mm, more subtle manifestations, like psychic manifestations in the relationships. If we manifest some qualities, if we transmit some qualities towards others, like maybe if I'm in a position to be a savior in one's life or have this idea that I'm very good, I'm very noble, I have very good qualities, I want to save people or I want to give them knowledge, I want to make them uh, be more, yeah, to save people or to have some virtues. It's very easy to have this feeling that I'm superior, that I'm like in the position of the supreme in some subtle way. I'm the doer, I'm the controller. These positions also like can make go very unnoticed, but um, be a coverage, a layer that is there and hindering our true humility and tolerance. And the last dimension of pride from this frame, which I wanted to present, is the demon Aristasura, the bull demon, and him represents the pride arising from indulging in false religions invented by cheaters, which causes neglect of devotional service. I know everything, I have the best knowledge, intellect. So here also it's even more subtle, and sometimes a person can feel superior because he is in some dogma or some false religious idea, maybe a bit close to this bogus philosophy, and he can feel that, okay, I know everything, everything is already there in me, I have the intellect, the capacity to grasp everything. I think that here also we can say that sometimes maybe also a devotee can have this manifestation, the dimension of pride, when he feels that he already knows, okay, I have read Bhagavad Gita, I have read Bhagavatam, I know what my Gurudev will tell and how he will explain the pastimes of Tyananda, everything already I have heard so many times. It's everything the same, and Krishna consciousness or the process of bhakti is this, and this, and we already have like a fixed, mm, fixed idea frame, and we close ourselves because we think that already I know everything. There is nothing that can. It's simple. This, and everything is already there. So we have these five dimensions of pride. The pride coming from material scholarship, which leads to bogus philosophies. The pride, arrogant pride, which comes from puffed of prestige, rooted in madness for wealth, or uh, I, mm, I think it's safe to say that here can be all this madness about acquiring different material energies, as was said in the text I read um, of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the power of yoga, wealth, fame, this all uh, these auspicious qualities of the Lord, the beauty, strength, fame, everything. When we are mad about this or attached and we want to acquire more, or we are, yeah, we feel pride that maybe I'm very beautiful, I'm very knowledgeable, I'm this and this and this. Also, the third dimension, pride, because of the position I have, not only in classical Varnashrama, but if I am a senior programmer or QA or whatever in this kind of position in society, then the pride that I am the supreme, the subtle manifestations that I feel that I'm in control, I'm the doer, it's my responsibility, I need to do it. If not me, then no one will do. This kind of too much reliance of on oneself and feeling that I'm the doer and the controller. And the last one, this false indulging in false religions. As I said, that also the more broader representation of this can be that I know already everything about my spiritual path, about the spiritual process. I already know it. And yeah, about if we um, think it's healthy sometimes to um, take some time and to analyze ourselves, to reflect, is there some dimension of pride which manifests in my daily life? For sure there is, but to take the time to reflect and to be more aware, to make the unconscious manifestation more conscious, and to see what we can do about it. And I would like to suggest one exercise, maybe not to do it now, but we can see and do it some other time. But Because our acharyas say that false pride and coming from this false sense of me, myself, and I, it's like the top blockage that we need to uproot with our practice and be more sensitive when these false manifestations arise and where we hold them, these labels. And this feeling of false pride is like the manifestation of our when everything is okay with our false identity. If I'm doing fine in my everyday life and everything is under my control, I'm doing things fine, it's very easy to have this subtle feeling of pride, this nice sense that okay, I control or I have this position, people regard me as one very good and noble person, or they admire my qualities, my position, my belongings, the things that I own, and it's this nice feeling. And already there maybe there is some forgetfulness of what is my true identity and which is the proprietor of everything and who uh, mm, to whom belongs these energies. Um, And what would be the exercise? The exercise would be to see, first to sit and to reflect where in my life I feel some tension, some challenge now, some negative emotions, where I feel irritated or maybe angry, where I feel tense, anxious, and to see where in the body we get the sensation, what is there, a bit um, to name what am I feeling, what is there, and to see then on the when we have named the situation and the feelings, to see what position is there of these false prides and to check is there maybe these emotions or this struggle, this tension coming because I have the dimension of pride about my belongings and that I own something and maybe my possessions are not enough or there is some challenge, some fear that maybe I will lose something or maybe that someone or something it's not under my control and not um, subjugating on my will and there's this feelings in me. Also it could be helpful to ask ourselves who am I in these situations in the context of these emotions. Maybe I'm in the position of the controller, the doer. Maybe I'm in the position that I feel threatened that someone or something in a way um, hinder my material process, acquiring things, or maybe there is some acquisition towards some of my identities in this material world. And in that way, we can see how the different situations and emotions which could lead our mind to be more anxious, more tense, more agitated, to follow this and to lead us to our false pride, these labels that we put out on ourselves, and see how through praying we can let go of these things, these different dimensions, where maybe I feel that I already know everything, or in some relationship there is some hurt, or some irritation because I feel that my position or my knowledge are being questioned. So it's very helpful to take our intense feelings, problematic areas in life, to be a gateway towards uncovering the false pride, the dimensions of false pride, and then to go through them with our devotional practices, with association, with prayer. But I guess that it's mm, no coincidence that false pride is such a big topic in our lineage, in our spiritual path. It's like the essence, it's like the um, aura of the false identity. When uh, the false identity is not being questioned and it's everything that there is, and we feel separate from the Lord, it's normal that false pride arises because we want to establish ourselves here in this material world because we feel that this is everything that there is. And it's totally normal that if everything that I am is this senior position at work, or my knowledge, or that I'm very good at this thing, or I have these good qualities, it's totally normal that I will want to ground myself more and more in this. And there comes this nice feeling because uh, we want to feel some happiness and this feeling of pride. Oh, this is mine. I own this. I am this. Oh, this is so good. Um, it's like giving some taste and feeling of happiness. So it's hard to blame ourselves that we have this tendency to be um, overwhelmed by false pride or to be in its mm, hold up in its game because it's totally normal when we are feeling separate and we don't have the right position and yeah, we don't know yet or we know intellectually but we still don't have our heart totally conquered and overwhelmed by love for Krishna and his associates. But yeah, I think that it would be nice and it can be a nice exercise, meditation, reflection when we have troubles in material life, when we have troubles in our everyday life, or we feel that we are in some vicious circle and going through the same emotions, repeating the old patterns, just to see and to sit and to see which position of false pride could be there, and this will lead me to the false identity, and then with prayer, with letting go, with seeing what is the deeper need there, I can go through it in a healthy way, which can make my faith more strong, and I could, yeah, mm, with the help of Krishna, mm, one layer to be mm, already dismantled or let go. Okay, now I will share this pastime of Lord Nityananda and the thieves and how this also represents one fighting his first the quest for acquiring more material energies and wanting to conquer the material energies to cheat God and in this feeling of separateness to establish ourselves and to be proud that we have so much nice things, but how this quest, if we have the mercy of the Lord, can be um, can be stopped and we can see what is truly meaningful. I will read it to be more accurate and to be more nice for the for you listening. So it's a pastime narrated by Shiva Vrindavan Dasa Thakura in Chaitanya Bhagavata. The leader of the gang, who had been born in a Brahmana family, had rejected religious principles to associate with wicked materialistic people and lead a sinful life of cheating, stealing, and even murder. Fortunately for him, he dwelt in the holy land of Navadvipa when Lord Nityananda was performing his pastimes there. So here we see that the main character, the gang leader, was born in a Brahmana family, but he rejected the religious principles. We see that here are some already of the dimensions of pride that I talked about. Oh, there's the dimension of the position, okay, Brahmana family, but then this madness, other dimension of pride, wanting to acquire with stealing, with cheating, some wealth and gain, led him to go out and be such a bad person. Lord Nityananda was residing with a devotee named Hiranya Pandita. Although Hiranya Pandita was poor, his heart was rich with pure love of God, and Lord Nityananda appreciated his company so much that he left his other associates to stay in Hiranya Pandita's home. Unlike Hiranya Pandita, the thief lacked such appreciation for the spiritual wealth of Lord Nityananda's company. Simply coveted others' material assets under the illusion that these would somehow make him happy. So we see here the uh, antagonist Hiranya Pandita, who is poor, but he is in the right position. He has no false pride and he don't want to establish some material identity. He is totally rich with this love of God, and his heart is full with this, and he receives the association of the Lord. Lord Nityananda goes there in his house, and that's totally okay because he is in the right position, knowing which are the important things, and yeah. But the other one doesn't appreciate the spiritual wealth. He just wants material wealth. He wants the material energy, the energy of the Lord for himself. One day the thief spied Nityananda Prabhu near Hiranya Pandita's house. He saw that the Lord wore golden bracelets, armlets, earrings with pearls. Necklaces made of gold, coral, jewels, and pearls adorned his beautiful body. Enchanted by such dazzling splendor, the thief craved the Lord's wealth. He stealthily followed the Lord to ascertain his residence and informed his companions of his great discovery. So here again, he's totally the manifestation of this false pride coming from this madness for wanting material wealth, and he wants to cheat, um, to steal from the Lord. And many of us, unknowingly, unconsciously, are still in some way or sometimes more in this situation that we want to acquire, to steal the energies of the Lord in this material world which are only meant for His service, for His devotees, for being like a mediator to from here to there, be of use for ourselves and to help us establish this connection with the Lord and establish our true identity. We still many times forget and feel that it should belong to me, and when something doesn't happen right, we feel like personally offended. How this thing just didn't happen as the way I wanted, or I didn't receive the things, the position, the attention that I truly deserved. And yeah, the thief returned to his gang and said, "My dear brothers, our days of suffering are about to end. I have seen the most valuable jewels all together in one place, on the body of Nityananda. He is staying alone in the house of Hiranya Pandita. So tonight, let us go there and rob everything." It's many times like this. We want something, we see something, we want to control it, we want to be the doer, and we feel that, okay, with only my efforts, with my knowledge, with my intellect, I will receive the things that I want, and I will feel that, okay, now I'm happy. Now everything is totally safe, and all the problems in my life are totally resolved. But as our Guru Maharaja very nicely says, it's the world itself is the problem, not the problems of the world, in the problems in our everyday life. Equipped with daggers, swords, and tridents, the thieves gathered near Hiranya Pandita's house that evening. They were blinded by boundless materialistic ambition, and their minds were empowered by an insatiable greed. Because of their demoniac mentality, they did not consider Nityananda Prabhu's true identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or his jewelry as an expansion of his spiritual energy. Instead, they considered him an ordinary man, and his ornaments merely matter to be conquered. Again, the things that I said. The thieves camped near Hiranya Pandita's house and sent a spy to investigate the feasibility of their plan. The scout returned and informed the others that Nityananda was eating and his associates were awake. He could no comprehend the activities of the Lord's associates who were intensely engaged in Sankirtana, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. They exhibited symptoms of deep spiritual ecstasy, such as shivering, crying, rolling on the ground, and standing up of the bodily hairs. The spy could see these activities only as a momentary impediment to his sense gratification. This also is a very nice descriptions and yeah, how one with materialistic mentality, when he's totally fixed on material desires and etc., the different other desires of the stemming coming up from our material identities, we could be blind. We can see such spiritual persons, some bona fide persons who exhibit such inspiration, knowledge, realizations. But when we are so obsessed with our material dealings, we are like having a wall and we can see with the senses, but still our mind would be totally on a different, like, different level, different dimension of comprehension. And yeah. So then, Lord Nityananda, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhavarama, is fully endowed with spiritual strength, Bhava. As the first expansion of Krishna's spiritual energy, Nityananda has all of Krishna's potentials, and so he perfectly understood the thief's sinful intentions. Through his mystic power, he caused them to fall asleep, and they slept deeply through the night. When they awakened suddenly to the squawking of crows, the sun was already high in the sky. And mm, here I'm thinking, and there's some association in me coming up that sometimes our depression, apathy, falling asleep, um, so to say, could be like God's mercy and our intelligent mm, companion, Paramatma inside, uh, who just uh, mm, puts our energy down, be more able to not do some stupid thing, just to calm down a bit, to don't have the energy to go and steal and do some nonsense, but okay, maybe be in this low energy state just to be able to calm down, to and sometimes this actually is such a mercy, and many times depression episodes, maybe 80% of the time, come as a result from anxiety, from being so much impatient and material desires, or overwhelmed by this kind of material everyday dealings. And this is really a mercy mm, to be put on hold, be there just a bit standing, okay, what's there? And sometimes we can mm, be annoyed or irritated why I don't have the motivation to go there to do these things. Why I don't have this and that energy or like this. But actually, it could be like the words mercy, the words mercy to put us on hold, to be more asleep, but to don't go and do some nonsense. When the thieves approach, mm, the thieves furtively returned to their homes and then quarreled, each accusing the other of falling asleep and ruining their plan. Then their leader pacified them, attributing everything to the will of goddess Durga, the demigoddess in control of the material nature. He conjectured that Durga had bewildered them because they neglected to worship her. Thus the thieves offered meat and wine to Durga, and then again set out to rob Lord Nityananda, unaware that Mother Durga is merely an agent of the Supreme Lord. When the thieves approached Hiranyapandita's house, they saw fierce giant soldiers guarding the four directions and loudly chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The thieves observed that each soldier wielded many weapons and was powerful enough to kill 100 people in an instant. Utterly mystified, they quickly left the vicinity and sat down together to discuss the strange sight. Where have these giant soldiers come from? The thieves wondered. Someone suggested that Nityananda might have arranged for his own protection, since many people said that he was very wise. Their leader scoffed at the idea and determined that the guards must be the entourage of an influential government official, and he decided to wait a few days before making another attempt. After 10 days, the chiefs gathered together for a third time, each carrying 5 or 10 weapons. As soon as they approached Hiranyapandita's house, they went blind, which seems appropriate when one considers that they were already spiritually blind. Then they fell into various situations that made them cry out of agony and fear. Some of the thieves fell into a ditch and were bitten by leeches, mosquitoes, and bees. Others fell into a heap of garbage and were stung by swarms of scorpions. Others fell on thorns, which pierced their bodies so that they couldn't move, while others fell into a hole and broke their limbs. Then Indra, the king of the demigods, sent a fierce storm with heavy rains, lightning, and sharp hailstones, and the thieves shivered with extreme cold. Although Indra holds a high post as a universal administrator, he is but a servant of the Supreme Lord. He realized that the thieves had come to rob Nityananda and punish them all out of anger. So here again, many times this is also the Lord's mercy that when we are so blind and have flourishing different dimensions of pride in ourselves, and we are blindly led by this pride and wanting to control, to be the doer, know, to have like this. This is a really mercy again to have these troubles. Many times when we um, cannot go out and to freely manifest our qualities and to acquire the things that we want, when we are in a way, mm, when there are some barriers, boundaries, when we are forced a bit to, mm, when we cannot easily go through life, when there are some stopping signs, we feel very angry or very depressed, very annoyed. But actually, this is a very nice, mm, nice way in which the material energy is trying to make us see that this is not the right attitude. We're not in the right frame of mind. All these top signs which come in front of us, which can be considered bad karma, because what is to have good karma? Good karma is to be able to move freely in the world, to have to move like we have no constraints. Mm, there is nothing holding us, no limitations. And bad karma is when we start to have limitations. We feel limited by some things. Something is limiting our physical health, our financial financial health. These limitations we consider like bad karma, and good karma is when we are free from these limitations and we can go freely, do whatever we want, feel whatever we want. But yeah, this is mainly mm, if we don't have the right position, totally again making us fostering our false identities, and then this false pride comes as an um, feeling happy about my material identity, that everything is fine. And as here the thieves go through these painful situations and have these limitations, they want to steal, they want to cheat and to acquire these material gains, but these limitations make them stop and to be able to see something else. Suddenly, in the midst of this terrifying storm, the leader of the thieves experienced a change of heart. He understood that Nityananda Prabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and regretted his plans once to harm him. He prayed for forgiveness and took complete shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Who can protect me from this great, great danger? The thief prayed. I have no shelter other than Nityananda. He declared that his only desire was to become the servant of the Lord, whether he lived or died. Upon seeing the thief's sincerity, Lord Nityananda relieved the gang from their suffering and restored their eyesight. The head thief returned to Hiranyapandita's house when he saw the glorious form of Nityananda Prabhu. He cried out to the Lord for protection and fell at his feet. Because Lord Nityananda had blessed him with ecstatic love of God, the hairs of his body stood on end, and he laughed, cried, and rolled on the ground, unable to speak. Eventually he came to external consciousness and confessed everything to Lord Nityananda. He marveled how the Lord had delivered all the thieves from their suffering, and then acknowledged that the real benefit of remembering the Word was not relief from physical pain, but liberation from a materialistic mentality. Lord Nityananda blessed the thief and promised to nullify all his sins if he agreed to renounce all sinful activities from then onward. The Lord commanded the thief to preach among the criminals, showing them the path of Krishna consciousness. Then the Lord gave his own flower garland to the thief and placed his lotus feet on the thief's head. The thief was purified of all sinful reactions and empowered to influence other criminals to take up Krishna consciousness. Ultimately, by Lord Nityananda's mercy, the thief and all of his followers became intoxicated with pure love of God. Jai. So here there is happy ending, and we know that with all the blessing of our Guru Maharaj and all the associates of the Lord and elders and senior devotees, we have uh, on behalf of their prayers and sincere mm, blessings, our journey here will have a nice ending too, happy ending. Until then, let us reflect on this story. Let us reflect where in our life we are a bit with this chief mentality and going through many um, limitations and still going with the same materialistic mentality, still holding to some false identity, and we want to relish the false pride coming from this false identity, regardless of the many stop signs and limitations that the world mercifully sets on our journey in a way to be able a bit to stop, to think, reflect, to sit back, relax, and enjoy the right kind of mentality, the right position. Mm, we can do also this exercise sometimes when we have blockages, when we have negative emotions in our everyday life, when we repeat the same patterns, to reflect on the different dimensions of pride mentioned in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, the pride coming from the position that we have, pride coming from knowledge and feeling that, oh, my intellect can grasp everything and I already know everything. The pride coming from the idea that I'm the supreme, I'm better than everyone, I'm the controller, the doer, the beholder of nice qualities, and I'm the savior maybe of someone. When we are passionate, too much passion that when we have being on the verge of madness for material things, fame, name, glory, energy, too much health, too much sense enjoyment, too much wealth, beauty, and like this strength, fame, and also material scholarship, bogus philosophies, maybe some narrative that still make us hold on to some false identity. And see, with prayer, with association, with sincerity, with this mentality in which the thief went to Nityananda Ram feet, okay, please protect me. I cannot do it myself. You please protect me and see what will happen and go through the blockages and uncovering, um, unlayering the material identities so that we can be more situated in the right position. As I read the beginning of my sharing, Bhaktivinoda Thakur reflecting of the third verse of Shikashtakam, the word amanina indicates the third characteristic of being devoid of false pride. Here is the antidote. This pride stems from the power of yoga, the power of sense enjoyment, wealth, beauty, high birth, strength, fame, eligibility, in relation to both the gross and the subtle body of the bound jiva. This is all false because it opposes the intrinsic nature of the jiva. Being devoid of pride means being devoid of such false pride. Even if there is cause for such pride, one should be free of false pride and decorated with the quality of tolerance. One should always engage in Harinama Kirtan. So thank you to being with me till the end. I hope that this meditation of the on the topic of pride and also this beautiful story, pastime of Lord Nityananda and the thieves will be um, maybe a nice impression that we can take in our mind and remember to have this association um, when we have limitations in our daily life. Try to see maybe I'm in a way being in that thief's mentality, and here is the word's mercy, putting some stop signs, wanting to take my attention away from this and be more reflective and put my attention in the right direction. Vanchkalpatarubhascha kripasindhubhyevacha pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Haribo.